In a previous episode, we built these two buildings behind me. In the first one, we turned charcoal into blocks of coal, and in the second one, we turned that block of coal into a diamond. But because I was worried we would run out of charcoal, I ended up building a third building, and this structure is just another tree farm that gathers logs that we then turn into charcoal. But in this episode, I want to eliminate the need to mine for two more items, and that is zinc and copper. Thus, we're going to automate zinc and copper production right in this little area. Okay, so I know usually you can't automate copper production and zinc production, but with this mod pack, it's been updated and added two recipes for the production of zinc and copper. But I think to show you those production lines, we should maybe take a little visit to the creative world. So let's head on over. So to make zinc and copper, we're going to make use of two production lines. And the first one will involve a normal cobble generator, but the second one has a very unique generator. So starting off with zinc. To get zinc, we're going to have to head all the way to the start, and we're going to start with a cobble generator that gives us cobble that will run through a crushing system, a double wheel system to get sand, and the sand from that will haunt so we can get soul sand, and the soul sand will use another fan system to bake it to give us some scoria, and by crushing the scoria, we've got a 25% chance to get a zinc nugget. So it's not a lot, but in the long run, it will make a difference. For the copper, we're going to do exactly the same, but we're going to have a bit of a different generator. We need to use lava, same as normal, but we need to have honey instead of water in the cobble generator, because when these two touch, they give you limestone. And when we crush limestone, we've got a 25% chance of getting a copper nugget and a 5% chance of getting sand, which the sand will run back through the system again. And at the end, we can just take those nuggets and put them into compacting drawers and slowly build up our supply of zinc and copper. So now that we know what we need to create these two items, we can start planning. The first thing's location, and I think this area might be perfect for the factory. It's not going to be a very big factory. Like I said, I don't need it to be super efficient because we've got quite a lot of everything, but I just want to slowly generate items over time. So I think this area is perfect for location. Then we also have this abandoned mine where we used to get cobble for gold farm from, and we can just utilize this into the cobble we need for the farm as well. As for the honey part of it, I've been busy in the flower farm. I made a temporary little bee farm, and we've been gathering honey in here, and we should have enough. So I think what we need to do now is head on to the mesa, get a platform in place, and then we start looking at the next steps. So I told you it's going to be small, and we've got the platform in. So the idea basically will be that we'll have some form of road going up here, and we'll have the main factory on top that will be creating the zinc and the copper. And then down here, we've got over there the cobble farm that we'll just pipe into this system. And then I've got a little entrance over here, and in here I want to do the limestone farm. So to build this limestone farm, we're going to need a few things. We're going to have to get the honey out of the bottles, because currently they're in bottles, and the only way to get them into buckets is via a drain and then spout them into a bucket. So that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to hook up a little temporary system in this corner, and then we'll fill up the buckets. So just a quick little dirty makeshift farm on this side. And what we do is now, if we chuck our honey bottles over here, they'll slowly start to drain. Well, chuck them all off. So it will slowly start to drain into the system, and the honey will go into this. And if we chuck down a bucket, we will get our buckets of honey. So this is how we're going to fill all the buckets. And once they're all filled, we can start the main limestone farm. So I'm going to fill up a bunch of buckets real fast. So over here, I've marked out the general shape of the farm. And just to run you guys through it, right over here, we'll have the structure, we'll have the lava block over here, and it actually needs to flow over one and then down one. In the center, we'll have lava, and this block right here where the two touches, those two will turn into limestone. So the exact same repeat on this side. And then what we need to do underneath this limestone, we're going to have like a chute or funnel. And then from there, we'll have a belt running all over from there to this way, where it will go into a storage system, and then it will get fed to the top. So the next thing we need to do is just get this basic structure in, and then we can do some create bits. Editing Dio, yeah. Did you guys just see that? Doesn't that look like a little crab? I only saw it now, and I think I'm going to have to recreate it somewhere in this world as a little piece of graffiti. Anyway, back to the video. Okay, so we've got the shape in, and before we continue with the rest of the structure, let's first quickly do this. So we're going to have a belt running from here all the way to the edge over here, and I'm going to connect it at the back there, because that way we can power one and it should just power the other. but then we're going to run this like this. So items will be collected on this belt, and we can add another block in the center over here. And then just on these blocks, we can just go ahead and add our chutes, and that should then be everything we need. Those blocks are going to get replaced. They're going to be turned into just those blocks again. So now it's capped off at the ends, and what we need to do now is on top of each of these chutes we have to do a cobblestone line, and this is just a temporary little block, but now we just need to hold down shift and click and make sure that it's pointing downwards, and these will be the drills that mine the limestone block once they form. And in theory it should just get picked up by the chute down here. So I'm gonna fill in both sides, and then we're almost ready to add all the fluids. I went ahead and added a little chain encased chain drive over there with a shaft connecting it up so the belts are running. And the next part is to add your honey first. Very important, add your honey first. So if we just right click here, it should all just run into that little gap over there, which is perfect because we don't want it touching the lava. Well, not directly. So this is it. Now just the rest of them. And now we've got all the honey in, and if I should place a bucket of lava right there, that should flow and turn into limestone, which looks really nice. It's going to continue doing that for the whole row, but I'm quickly going to add the rest of the lava buckets. Then this farm is kind of done. It just needs to get connected, and it's complete. So I added up the encased chain drives up here. I closed this up so nothing can pop out, added some lanterns, added a little storage area which isn't connected to the main storage shed, but I still haven't added the shaft that'll make it all work. So let's quickly do that together. We pop that in there, and we already have items flowing into the system. Let's quickly get a quantifying key on that drawer. So it's pretty loud in here, but let's lock it. Let's add the quantifying key, and we're already up to 380. So this is quite fast. So I'm going to add a few upgrades to this, and then I think we can call this quits for now. I think I'm just going to add a little staircase to get in here, and then we can head up to the top part and build the second part of this factory. So I went ahead and marked out the little area. I do think this is going to be big enough for everything we've got planned. So I marked out the outsides of the walls and also the little doorways where I think we should do doors. And now the only thing left for us to do is actually plan where everything needs to go. So I think this general area over here, this is where I want to do final crushing. By that I mean where we take our limestone and scoria, run it through the crusher and get our two ores, which will be mainly copper and zinc. So that will be happening in this area. Then I think this area, which is also a bit wider, is where we should crush our cobble to gravel and our gravel to sand. So that will happen in this area. And in this area I was thinking we should maybe double stack. So at the bottom we'll have an area where we haunt our sand to get soul sand, and it will repeat the same process at the top but just with lava and create from soul sand to scoria. I think I can do it. I've got my work cut out for me placing all those contraptions in this little build, but let's get some belts in and then I'll bring you guys back. So it was somewhat of a challenge, but it can be done. So this area of the general crushing, we're going to have on this side, we'll have something come up and we'll have our storage drawer right over here. And this is the drawer we will be pulling from and sending items through the system. And then right over here, we'll just collect it all again using another storage drawer. Words. And then I think the general storage will be right in front of these, but we'll get back to that. And then for this system, we're just going to need one set of crushing wheels, and they'll be right over here. So we'll have items come out, go through the crushing wheels, and then they'll turn into the corresponding items, which in the end will be zinc nuggets, copper nuggets that will compact, and then there was something else. Sand. You'll also get sand from crushing the limestone, but that will just send back into the system. So this system is exactly the same. The only difference is we're going to have cobble come out over here. So I was thinking let's do a double layer. So we'll have cobble coming out of the system. And then the first step will be to crush this cobble into gravel. So we'll have a system like this. And let's just repeat that on top. So now we'll be crushing cobble into gravel, but the gravel needs to be crushed down once more, and we're going to do that by repeating the crushing wheels on this side. Just add some temporary blocks, and this will be crushing the gravel into sand and clay. The clay will be feeding back into the bigger system because we don't need it over here, but the sand in the long run will then come over this way and go into our drawer slaves again, which will add them to the storage system. And from here, the sand will then be taken out and go over this area. So in this area, we're going to have exactly the same thing. We'll have our drawer slaves on this side, and this will be where we take the items from. I might even change these out to be drawers. So this one will be sand, and that one will be the soul sand. And then on this side, we'll send them over. So this drawer over here will technically be soul sand or drawer controller. And this is where we'll put it back. So now we have a loop over here as well, but now we need to add the encased fans. And I was thinking the encased fans can just run along this wall. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 works perfectly. And then a second layer right on top of that, like so. And the bottom ones will be haunting the sand as we discussed, and that will go into this drawer. And the top ones will be cooking the soul sand and turning it into scoria. And then from here, it will end up in that system over there. So the limestone will directly go into that system. It's only the making of scoria that's going to use the rest of this. And the byproduct sand that we'll sometimes get from this system will then just be added into the system. I am considering not hooking this up to the greater design over there, and instead just using the cobble and adding this on its own little unique drawer system. So I think the next thing I need to do is maybe just connect all the drawer trims, bring over the cobble from that side, and then I'll bring you guys back. So now that we have all the drawers connected and everything in place, now it's time for filters. We're going to need a filter over here. We're going to need 2 more over there and 2 more over there. And the filters over here will be cobble, just to say we only double crushing cobble. The filter over here will be to say we're only crushing scoria and limestone. And the last filter over here, this one will be to say we're only haunting sand. And that one will be to say we're only cooking the haunted sand, which is soul sand. So all the filters are on the brass funnels and they should be right. We'll only know once we turn it on. But for the other sides, we can just go with the andesite funnel and that should be more than enough because literally we're taking items in. So nothing strange happening over there. And the only thing we do need to add is maybe 1 additional drawer for clay. And I'm thinking of just putting it in the corner over here because I did decide to keep it on a closed loop. So it's not going to be connected to that one. So maybe we'll just add clay over here because it's not going to be a lot. It's going to be there. So we've got all of those in. We've got all of this sorted out. And the next thing I need to do is build the catching trays or the holding trays for the lava and then just put the campfires in. So I've got a little substructure and now we can put our haunted campfires over here. We can also just light netherrack, but I do think the campfires look a bit better. And this should haunt everything that goes past here. And on top, I did a little rack over here, and there we can just add our lava, and that's done as well. So now we just need to hook everything up and make sure everything's going the right way, spinning the right way, and then we're ready. Then we're set to go. So I'm going to grab a few gearboxes, shafts, and encased chain drives, and just get everything hooked up, and then I'll bring you guys back once we're all sorted. So we have encased chain drives in, we've got shafts running all over, we've got gearboxes, and everything should be connected, and with the flick of this lever, it should all turn on. But before we do that, let's just go downstairs and I'll just show you. So underneath here, we've got everything running. I tried to make it as neat as possible and I don't think it looks bad. Now, if we head on up here and if we flick this lever, everything should turn on and we should actually start producing the items we set out to produce. So let's go. We can see limestone coming through. And the first thing I notice is this we need to turn down to, I do believe 16 is the optimal amount, which means this might be very slow. So we might add a second layer on top, but I'm not too phased. And already we've got the first copper nuggets coming through. Oh yeah, we've got sand being haunted. This is another little mistake on my side. We need to make those 16 as well, otherwise it's going to take forever to haunt these items. Okay, so I quickly fixed it, so those will also not only put out 16, we can see 16 soul sand going into the system, and on this side we see 16 soul sand coming out, turning into scoria. Perfect. And that's now going to go through into the system, which is a bit slower. Yeah, I'm going to definitely double stack this. Let's quickly see, because this is going to clog the whole system. So I might double stack it, make the bottom only do a limestone and the top one doing scoria. But yeah, items are running through it and everything's working. So I think before I decorate this place, let's quickly fix the crushing system on my left hand side. So it's fixed now. I'm at a double layer. At the top we're processing scoria, at the bottom we're processing limestone, and it's been working. It's not been running for long, but we've already got 4 nuggets of zinc and 18 nuggets of copper. Like mentioned, I've got a lot of those resources already, so this is just going to run passively in the background, slowly building up stock, and I'm excited to have this built, so that's great stuff. But now we need to do something about it. You see, we can't just have this building or this contraption exposed like this. We need to get it covered somehow, and I've been thinking we've got a lot of factories over here and the workers need to eat, so what if we do like a factory on top, and down here we do some form of little cafe on the side of it, just so it's like a little, almost like a rest stop, so people can come, they can come eat. And I just think it's fitting because we have lava that we do maybe a little bit of a food stand over here. So I think it's time we do a little build montage. So sit back, enjoy as we get the structure built and even decorate this area a little bit. And we're done. As per usual, I went a little bit overboard and I finished up the area, added a few trees, and it's not done. Like, the decorating over here is not done at all. It's just a start, just so it looks a bit better than just the brown and the trees. But over here we've got this little build. Our biggest problem over here was this part, which was the power for the fans. They actually had to get connected on the outside of the build, so I added this little structure, and I have to say I like it. I really do. And it's just over here we've got walkways going around, and at the back over here where nothing's still happening but might happen in the future. But then if we head on down this little road over here, we come to this cozy little shack over here, which I'd like to think is where all the locals come to have a meal and everything. So we walk in, we've got the classic little banners, and that just goes back here, so it's just to hide it. And if we come in here, we've got some seating, so you can sit, or you can sit at a table if you're not having takeout, and you can just have a nice little meal. And I have to admit, I think this is the cutest little build I've done in this area, and there has been requests that some of the builds get interiors, so I will slowly start filling them up and show you as I finish them. But this is not the only area that I actually decorated. No, between episodes, the one that I felt bored, and I started exploring and trying the new bushes and the trees and everything, and I actually did a bunch over here. If we walk down here, we've got this little path in here, we've got all these trees, and it already makes it feel so much more immersive. I want to see to adding maybe like bamboo standing every now and then, or sugarcane or something. But this area already looks so much better. We've got pathways in that lead between the buildings. We've got little walkways going up, and at the back we've got this tree. And this tree is actually a tutorial I followed. The tutorial I will link down in the description. It's by Mr. Matt Ranger. He is an awesome content creator, and he makes these trees look so good. But I think my problem is patience. I don't have the patience to do what he does, and it shows. But nonetheless, I do love these trees. I might do another design, see if I can improve on it and just scatter them all throughout. But over here I also have this little area which I want to add more bushes, maybe do a little bench or something hidden away. And then at the back we also did a little fencing. So the idea is that I will add these type of fences going around all over, just with iron bars and the deep slate walls. And that's it. That's what I've been doing in between episodes. It's just trying to make this place look a little bit better. And I don't know about you guys, but I really love this area. But sadly, that's going to be it for this episode. I know I said we'll do the appreciation tunnel this week, but I'm really crunched on time. You see, the video needs to be up in an hour, and I still need to edit some of it. So we'll do a lot of subscribers next week, or we'll just maybe do it in a little short. We'll see. But down in the comments, let me know, what do you think of the new builds and all the decorations we did in the area? Leave a like, comment, and if you're not done so yet, do subscribe, as it really helps me out. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye for now.